national security interests either in the long run.
But again, you got to assume
all the emphasis on that.
You got to assume that Hillary Clinton's been doing that and the regime is doing it. All right, look, you're a Navy guy. I call for a possible blockade of Iran if everything collapses. I think that would stop Israel from doing anything. Put some warships in there and say enough's enough. We're blockading you. We did it with Cuba back in the Kennedy regime. Would you support that?
I think that that is an option that must be seriously considered, and I think it would have a serious effect. I would remind you that Hezbollah in southern Lebanon has thousands of rockets that they could unleash on Israel.
No, I know.
It's hard to tell. If the Iranians block the Straits of Hormuz, it cuts off the world's oil supply as well. So we got to think it through. But it's an option, frankly, that again, I certainly wouldn't take it off the table.
Okay. Now let's go to Afghanistan now. A deteriorating situation, according to General McChrystal. You just heard the general say he doesn't talk to President Obama. I thought that was a little strange. Now, the Pentagon and Gates say, look, that's the way we want it. What do you think?
I think it's vitally important that every president that I know of has talked directly to the generals. Of course, you observe the chain of command, but here's the person who has the direct responsibility, General McChrystal in this case, of some 60-some thousand young Americans. Just out of idle curiosity, I would have talked to him.
I was taken aback by that. Now, you would put the 40,000 in, right? You put the 40,000 in?
If we don't, then we are facing disaster, as General McChrystal has adequately described, and we can't do half measures. Time is not on our side, as Admiral Mullen, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, testified, and we need to act very soon. And I understand the president's dilemma, and I sympathize with the fact that it's the left base of his party and a lot of other factors politically and otherwise that he has to consider, but I would absolutely agree with that. And those who are opposing it are the same people that said the surge wouldn't work.
Yeah, the surge wouldn't work. I got that. All right, I'm going to hold the senator over for another couple of minutes, and we'll back time it all down in the show so that you all know. All right, now look, here's my problem with Afghanistan. You got a corrupt government in there. Karzai is ineffective. We've had 8 years in there, Senator. We haven't been able to train their army or their police force at all. 8 years, okay? So Americans on both sides of the aisle, liberal, conservative, independent, libertarian, whatever, they're going, maybe it's impossible. You've been there, I've been there. It's a primitive country. Life expectancy is 40. Most people don't have electricity. Most people are illiterate, all right? We're trying to nation build in there. It looks like it's impossible. So to me, it looks like we're going to have a staunch police action, and that's about the best we can do. But maybe you have another plan.
I have the same plan that we used in Iraq, only adapted to the different demographics, geography, etc. You provide security for the people, and then the social and economic process move forward. We had a government in Iraq when we started the surge that had no control over the country. It was riven by terrible sectarian violence. I have great faith in General Petraeus and General McChrystal, who tell me we can do it, but first you have to provide security for the people. Exactly.
All right. Exactly. I think most Americans are willing to give that a try, but if it doesn't work, what are you going to do?
Very weary. Bill, they're very weary.
Absolutely.
And you know they are.
Right.
But we have, I think, really only two choices. You do the right thing, or you get out and...
Well, you got to give it a try. Just like in Iraq, and you were right on Iraq, and most others were wrong. The senator was right on Iraq, on the surge. We got to give it one more try, one more good try, and see how it comes down. And I also want to say, and I know you've said this before, that the American military is performing magnificently once again. Once again, not only do they perform magnificently in Iraq, but this is harder. This is harder. They're in a primitive country with people who have no idea about decorum or anything like that, and the American military is performing. Can't even use air power now in a lot of situations. But it's just stunning to me how good our military is. I'll give you the last word, Senator.
I agree with everything you said in spades. I'd also point out the Afghans are good fighters too, and they love a good fight. No. And so we've got to
get them mobilized. Then you know it's been 8 years.
Train them up.
Yeah,
train them up.
8 years.
You got to operate with them. We got to operate with them. I thank you for having me on, Bill.
Senator, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for coming on.